6:04, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing. We're starting you off at 73 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We broadcast live from the 180 Pros studio. You heard from Ray right there. Get ready for it, y'all. The back-to-school traffic is about to be here. Not here yet, but about to be here, traffic-wise. We got a lot of ground to cover this morning. Speaking of back to school, our 7 o'clock hour is predominantly Cade Brumley. I mean, we'll have top stories and trending in the first segment, and then Dr. Brumley after that, because it is back to school time, and we've got a lot to talk about, not just here in Baton Rouge, but statewide. Dr. Brumley's on the docket today. So is Jeff Crouere. He's coming up in about 30 minutes. Congresswoman Julia Letlow going to be in the 8 o'clock hour, as will Mark Romig from New Orleans and Company. A little mulligan on yesterday's snafu. We weren't able to connect. But we start you off with top stories and trending. The mayor's commercial building facade improvement program is off and running, making a total of $300,000 available through individual grants. The program prioritizes projects located within two key commercial corridors, Scenic Highway and Scotland Avenue. Eligible improvements include storefront improvements, signage, lighting and repairs, awnings and canopies, exterior work such as exterior painting, replacement of windows and doors, and masonry repair. The application period runs through August 28th. We had Kelly LaDuff in from the mayor's office, 2 weeks ago, to talk about how this program was getting launched and all the details behind it. If you wanted to check that audio out, it's still available on demand at talk1073.com. Number 4. Taking you to the other side of the river, the bridge over Bayou Gros Tete between Highway 77 and Sydney Road will be closed Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The OTD says the closure is for a routine bridge inspection. Keeping it on the west side, a mosquito sample has tested positive for West Nile virus, according to the West Baton Rouge Mosquito Control. As a result, officials are stepping up abatement efforts and asking residents to eliminate possible breeding sites. Turn over the buckets, make sure there's nothing collecting water in your yard, and the like. One of 2 suspects who escaped while being transported through Tangipahoa Parish by Border Patrol agents has been caught, according to the Sheriff's Office in Tangipahoa. The Sheriff's Office said agents conducted a traffic stop on I-12 East around the Tangipahoa-St. Tammany Parish line around 6:45 a.m. yesterday. 3 men in the vehicle were detained. The driver and front seat passenger ran from agents. One headed north of the interstate. The other man ran south. Both were barefoot and handcuffed in the front. Officials say a report was received of a handcuffed man in a blue long-sleeve shirt and khaki pants trying to break into a mobile home in the Beatico area. Sheriff Gerald Sticker says they set up a perimeter with the help of helicopters, drones, and a team of canines to suppress any possible movement. Spectators could be banned from wearing pink in support of Madison Brooks, as Desmond Carter, the first suspect in the rape case against Madison Brooks rape case, is set to go before a jury in the coming weeks. Carter's defense team says support for Brooks in the form of wearing pink actually equals intimidation. What you say, Breland?
RFK Jr. and CNN's Dana Bush went back and forth went back and forth pretty hard on vaccines over the weekend.
Did you see any of that?
No.
Oh, so it was quite the spectacle. It was, and look, I know I'm in a shrinking number of on the Republican side being pro-vaccine because I trust what my doctor tells me. But she made it all about her. Like it was Dana Bash was not her best. It was intentionally confrontational, and it was a lot of like paper waving and I have the science right here, but you don't. You probably should have brought it with you.
Almost attacking RFK Jr. Yeah, just very.
Yeah, it was very hostile. Very much on the offensive.
Yes. Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong couldn't muster up a yes or no answer to the simple question, should Thanksgiving be canceled?
This was another CNN incident, by the way.
I don't know.
I don't know. CNN making a spectacle on one end and then they're doing real work on the other. This should have been a no-brainer. Just say no. No, it shouldn't be canceled. How hard is that? So she's running for governor now, but back in 2020, she had a series of tweets talking about how Thanksgiving shouldn't be a thing. And she was asked repeatedly, so should we get rid of Thanksgiving? And she could not say yes or no. It's like either stand by your statement or don't.
Right. And bottom, no, don't cancel Thanksgiving. It's the one holiday where we could just show up, eat, and not have to worry about gifts.
No, but she's getting back into all the roots of the Native Americans and whatnot. And
gotcha.
But I mean, if that's your stance, make that your stance.
Right. Stand on something.
Let's see how popular that is in Wisconsin. You go first.
The Gen X checklist is resonating just about everywhere. It is popping up on social media. Okay, what is this, Brian?
You're Gen X, right?
No, I'm.
You're a millennial?
I'm millennial, but I am one of the on the older end of millennial.
Okay. Oh, now I gotta find it again. I had it open on my phone. I tell you what, let's not do this here. 6:25. Let's run through the Gen X checklist. You and me. See where we're at on it. Because I mean, you're not Gen X, but you might be Gen X without knowing it.
I relate to more Gen X than I do millennials.
Interestingly enough, I have a lot of millennial in me. And I'm part of that. I'm not part of the Zennial.
You're Gen X.
Yeah, no, totally.
You're the older Gen X.
I'm not older Gen X, but I'm 1976.
Okay.
So I am, if I was born a year and a half later, I would have been considered Zennial, which is half Gen X, half millennial. Meaning I got an email address before I was out of high school. Like that's the long and the short of that. An earlier adapter to the internet and whatnot. But no, I'm solid Gen X, but I don't always. Yeah, it's. I have some variances to be sure. I have some looking in the mirror to do to be sure. 611 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're going to get into sports in just a little bit. Before that, let me tell you about Landmark Bank, landmarkbankla.com. Small business owners, this is probably a good opportunity for me to talk directly to you right now. I talk about personal banking all the time when you have a community bank. And that is because when you have a community bank, you have a community banker, someone who's basically in it with you, not just checking boxes on a P&L, right? For a business owner standpoint, how great would it be if your banker took your business personally? We're talking commercial banking, but we're talking about a personal touch on commercial banking. By the way, you sacrifice none of the technology, you sacrifice none of the assets, you sacrifice none of the opportunities when you run with Landmark Bank. Landmarkbankla.com is the website. You get all the benefits of the big boys, but you get that personal touch that you won't get elsewhere. Ask any small business who went through COVID how much of a benefit that is. And then visit landmarkbankla.com. Sports is next. I'll go back upstairs in a minute. Free groceries for a year. Talk 107.3 and Citizens Bank and Trust want to make things a little easier on your budget by making your groceries for an entire year. And even if you don't win the grand prize, we're awarding second chance prizes of $250 gift cards to High Neighbor Supermarkets. It's the free groceries for a year sweepstakes powered by Citizens Bank and Trust and High Neighbor and, of course, Talk 107.3. Register now at talk1073.com. Sports time here, and you know what? We're inching closer to football. Today might not be inching. Today might be a giant leap. LSU players reporting to camp today. This will be head coach Lane Kiffin's, of course, first preseason camp with the Tigers. LSU's rebuilt roster is going to need to build chemistry fast, especially on the offensive side. Tiger Reg editor Glenn Gilbo talking with her. Well, Tiger Reg is part of our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network. He says it starts with quarterback Sam Levitt. Cut 16, please.
I'm going to be looking at Sam Levitt, see how he's doing with his foot, but more importantly, his arm. I remember when Matt Mock was the quarterback, he had the same injury, and he was a pretty good running quarterback too, and it did not impact him in 2003, and they won the national championship. But also all the wide receivers and Cade Green. There's a lot to.
There is, and when he refers to his foot, I believe he had, was it Liz Frank or the more formal Elizabeth Frank? Nothing? Okay, fine. Yeah, he was recovering from a foot injury. Kiffin brought in 9 transfers, 3 freshman wide receivers for Levitt to throw to. That is a lot of toys. That is a lot to play with right there. That is a lot of ways to spread the ball around. Although, like Gilbo said, Cade Green is going to be that number 1 target. Also, 1 or 2 of the newcomers in that crowded, talented room, they're going to need to separate themselves and probably do so early.
What receivers come to the forefront? I mean, Lane Kiffin brought in 9 of them. It's going to be interesting to see which ones of those take the most snaps in practice. It's probably going to be Jace Brown and Jackson Harris to start with, but there's a lot of guys there, and there might be somebody we're not even thinking about.
Probably, and that's the fun part, right? Is over on LouisianaSports.net every single day, you're going to have practice reports, camp reports. There's going to be a wealth of coverage over on LouisianaSports.net. And we're going to be able to see it in real time as it progresses. Who is standing out? Who is moving up the charts? Who's moving down? Gilbo says LSU's roster is as talented as any of them on paper. And, of course, you know, Kiffin is Kiffin. He's just awesome. But you can't expect this perfect season with how difficult the schedule is. And that's true of everybody in the Southeastern Conference. So, I mean, for example, you got back-to-back matchups between Ole Miss and Texas A&M in the first month of the season. You've got Alabama and Texas paired up over in November.
Regardless of if they lose this many or this many, they're going to be a much better team on the field, and they're going to be much more entertaining to watch because they're going to be able to run the ball, and therefore they're going to be able to pass the ball better. And their quarterback, I think, is going to be better.
This is going to be a difficult season to manage the whole way through, to say, eyes on the prize this week and this week only. It's one of the spillovers from Brian Kelly that I actually liked was each week was its own thing, right? He actually did a decent job of that, each week being its own thing. And if you can keep that if you can compartmentalize like that, you're going to do well. But you can't head the road to Ole Miss saying we've got Texas A&M on the back end. You've got to hit the road to Ole Miss saying we've got Ole Miss. It's 6:20. Here's the Fox Business Report. One more time. Okay. That's stupid. Oh, the Ask Breck promo. We also don't promote it enough, but like I'm not going to. It's just there's way too many things. Oh, crap, this is me. Well, as we will see back to school traffic start to build as the week wears on, it's not here yet, y'all. I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish is absolutely fantastic right now, as is I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish. Now, if you flip things around to I-10 eastbound coming back across the street from West Baton Rouge, well, hang on now. I'm telling you I-12 westbound is good, but that might change for, look, it's starting to build up now. Okay, about 15 minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes ago, there was an accident in the roadway, I-12 westbound near Airline. And yeah, we're going to start to see build up from that as volume increases. It is in the roadway. I'm not seeing which lane it is, but volume is starting to build right now and probably will continue as the morning wears on and more people are out on the road. So as of right now, we're okay, but I would be on the lookout for that. I-10 eastbound coming back across from West Baton Rouge Parish looks great. Surface streets, there's only one accident to look out for right now, but it's like off in a parking lot. It was moved off the road. That would be Perkins at Pollard. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. A legendary career reaches football immortality. This Saturday, hear Drew Brees and the rest of the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame class enshrined in Canton. We're going to carry it for you right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Coverage begins at 11 a.m. So, Bree Lynn mentioned it in trending stories there. It appears that the Gen X checklist is resonating basically everywhere it pops up on social media. And for a second time, my phone has kicked me back to the home page. I was pulling it up on Twitter because that's the quickest place to grab it.
I'm curious to see what this checklist is.
So it's nothing really like earth shattering or anything. It's just the 80s Nostalgia Channel put it out. And so just check them off. If you are in this number. Obviously, if you're not 45 to 60, which is the first check mark. Gen X defined. Are you 45 to 60 years old? Play along at home. Play along in the chat. Okay. Tell me how many checks you get out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different categories. Okay. Here we go. Okay. 45 to 60 year old. Yes, that is me.
Nope.
Check. Well, obviously, because you're a millennial, right?
Right.
That's the first one. Okay. So I got 1. I'm 45 to 60. Number 2, but I look like I'm 35 to 40. Nope.
I would say on a good day, Brian.
No. Will 100% still throw hands?
You would.
Probably. Yeah. If I'm being honest about that, I probably would. What about you?
I would throw some hands.
You
yeah. Especially when it comes to my boys.
Yeah. Okay. That's all right. Cusses a lot. 100%.
Guilty.
I should probably check that one off twice. I keep an eye on my kids' age so I know how much I can cuss in front of them.
My dad was oil filled, so I grew up with a sailor's mouth at a young age.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I'm shocked I can go 3 hours every day, doing this show without letting out anything that the FCC would have a problem with.
Right. Well, we pushed the envelope a few times, but
but that's a hot mic situation where we thought we were on Facebook where the FCC doesn't have domain.
And then you get Ted's. Brian just said that on the air.
Mm-hmm. Great work ethic.
Yeah,
I think I do.
Yeah.
I think I'm a great work ethic. So far 4 out of 5. And are you playing along on the chat? I'm not in the chat right now because I got this open in front of me.
So far, no.
Okay.
But I'm giving them a few
latency.
minutes. Yes.
I know there's latency. Zero tolerance for stupidity and laziness.
Oh, that's you, Brian. 100%.
What does that mean? Am I mean?
No, you're not mean, but sometimes, but you need to be hard on me.
Well, yeah.
And it's not lazy, more or less. I just make silly mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like out in the real world, outside of work, Zero,
yeah.
zero
Like when you're
tolerance.
driving around and people are just
It's everywhere. It's not just driving. It's
in the
like,
store.
I can't go to a fast food restaurant in Baton Rouge.
I know.
Because all I'm going to do is complain about it. And I despise, even worse than that, I despise the people who complain about fast food on social media. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know what this is. You knew what this was going to be before you drove through, but you're lazy.
And you're still going to complain about
right.
it.
So you're going to hop, you're going to get poor service at a fast food drive-through and then complain about the poor service when you knew what you were getting ahead of time.
Right.
Go into the damn grocery store, cook your own food, or order from somewhere nicer.
Yep.
Because if you want good service, go someplace with good service. The reason you go to drive-through is for convenience. You can't have the convenience and know you're getting the convenience and then still complain. Yeah, so I guess zero tolerance there.
Right.
That would be me. No fear. Not only does Gen X have no fear, but we have no fear t-shirts. Do you remember the no fear t-shirts?
No, I don't. I'm trying to. It was in bold. Was it in bold letters? In white and black, maybe. No fear with a period.
No, yeah, and they would have little sayings on them. What were some of the no fear t-shirts sayings? I gotta pull them back up again here.
No fear.
Yeah. Mine said there is no off season. That was the no fear t-shirt I had.
T-shirt. I feel like I had one at one point. Let me see. No fear t-shirt.
Okay, I can't repeat that one on the air.
Oh yes, I remember that. Okay, it looks like a skater emblem.
It does, but it was the first extreme whatever, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Second place is the first loser. No fear. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. No fear.
Oh, I have one. Don't let your fear stand in the way of your dreams.
Beautiful.
No fear.
To pile on that one, all men are great in their dreams. Reality just narrows the competition.
No fear.
I tell you, from a Gen X standpoint, the only thing better than the no fear t-shirt was the Big Johnson t-shirt.
See, I don't remember that.
The Big Johnson t-shirt. You want to talk about get detention immediately? Because, we couldn't wear them in high school because we had, dress codes and whatnot. But the Big Johnson t-shirt had a lot of sexual innuendo involved in it. A lot.
And see, I went to a private school, so that's probably. Oh yeah. See, I don't remember this. I just Googled it.
Yeah, the Big Johnson t-shirt was. Chime in on the chat if you had a Big Johnson t-shirt.
Renee in the chat says, I'm outside of your age group.
Are you?
That's why she's not chiming in.
All right. Gen X defined. We got two more categories here in 30 seconds to go. Sarcastic AF.
Yep.
And you know what the AF stands for because you cuss a lot.
Yep.
And then here's the other one where I vary. Still listening to the same music.
Yeah.
I still enjoy the entire 80s and 90s genres. And by the way, New Jack Swing will never be replaced. It will always be my favorite. But I've adapted to everything new as well. So
I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah, it's I keep adding on. I just don't subtract.
Right.
It's 6:30. Here's news on Talk 107.3.
Troy has a good point. I'm fairly certain Gen Xers invented the inspirational posters, which are just phrases that came from boomers.
The one with the cat hanging on the tree just says hang in there. Or the frog in the pelican's mouth and it says never give up.
Oh, yeah, I had that.
Chandler says Big Johnson for the win. Innuendo in your endo. My guy.
Matt says, I don't feel millennial, but I can relate to 2 out of 3 of the list. Definitely remember 2 to 3 on the list. Definitely remember the t-shirts. I'm 43.
Okay. 43 is just under your yeah. You would be on the older end of the Zennial category.
Matt, yeah.
Yeah.
morning, Jeff. How are you? Okay, I'm gonna put you on hold. We'll come to you in 2 minutes, okay? No problem. Byron, my no fear has been replaced with no cartilage.
Yep. Yeah, my Big Johnson t-shirt, it was the Big Johnson Casino, liquor up front, poker in the rear.
See, I don't remember the Big Johnson t-shirts, but I went to a private school and we went to church a lot, so I was probably sheltered on that front. But my older cousin.
Oh my God, you could still buy these things.
You could still what? Hold on eBay probably.
BigJohnson.com.
Well, let me search that. Will block me from searching that?
No, I'm on it, and this is a guarantee computer.
Sure enough, home of the biggest shop.
$30 for these t-shirts.
You should get one.
Absolutely not.
Golf is a game of inches. Some of us are born with an advantage. Holy shit.
This is a fishing shirt. It's Big Johnson bait check. You don't need to be a master baiter when she sees the size of your Johnson. I mean, they're so terrible. I don't know how we wore these things. Like, No Fear was just stupid. But like No Fear kind of launched all the individual t-shirt, like, because everybody's got t-shirts that say something now, right? Like it's you can't avoid it.
Matt says, "Don't click it; it's a trap."
Yeah.
That's what I was afraid of. I thought Guarantee was gonna block that website.
I've got 6 hours on the road today.
You got our new chords, right?
Hmm?
You got our new chords and stuff, like video chord and all that. Are you gonna get that together? Like, so we remember there was one remote where you didn't have to be video chord.
Don't. I'm sure you're right. I just don't remember it. Yeah, I got to pack up my kit, and the kit's upstairs. It hasn't been touched since my last remote. Yeah. I'm going to double check it, but it hasn't been touched since my last remote. But I am so fired up for this trip. I hate that I'm like, yeah. But there's so much that needs to come out of this trip. Like there's a lot. There's nothing, like, no downside, but there's a lot of upside riding. So
How many local talk radio shows we still have here in Louisiana? Total. Like, there's not many.
WWL's entire day is local. Crouere is local. Corey Johnson's local. So New Orleans has a bunch.
But there's like 10, right? 10 to 20 people total.
I mean, if you count Moon as local, he's in there. Joe does the show before Moon. I think someone does the show after Moon.
Okay, so they still have a handful of people.
Shreveport has 3 or 4.
Okay.
Baton Rouge it's because Baton Rouge's heritage talk station is an iHeart. We should have 5 or 6 more in this town, but we don't because iHeart doesn't hire its employ people. 637 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Just about every Tuesday we head on down to New Orleans to check in with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. He's on with us right now. How are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Doing great.
Before we get started, did you ever have a No Fear t-shirt or a Big Johnson t-shirt?
No.
No, that kind of surprised.
Mm-mm.
I would have pegged you for having a No Fear T-shirt, one of those, with the catchy slogan on it, like make you sound like a real bad A. As I thought everybody had one, but all right.
You've got several, huh?
Do what? I had one.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah, the I had one of each, one No Fear shirt and one Big Johnson shirt, but you can't wear those anymore. They're way, way too offensive. We got a lot of ground to cover here. Before we get to New Orleans' budget, I want to talk a little bit about the SpaceX announcement and how it's. I'm trying to. Well, I mean, it hasn't been formally announced yet, but the SpaceX news that's out there and how it's being received from place to place. Because this sounds like what is potentially the biggest economic development win yet. At the same time, though, we are sportsman's paradise, and do we want to see that chipped away? So, what's the reaction down in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's cautious optimism. I mean, because SpaceX is such a big player and the potential for massive jobs. I mean, I know similar facilities that have been constructed. In Texas?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about thousands of jobs. So, yeah, I mean, this is an area that's an environmental treasure, and obviously there's a concern that this could destroy that. So there's always a trade-off. I mean, there's never something that's 100% positive. I mean, there's always going to be a concern. But I think we've been on the losing end economically for so long. I mean, this kind of news I think is encouraging. We just got the news that for the first time in years, we gained a little bit of population.
Yep.
It wasn't much, but at least there was a little.
Like 2,400 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a minuscule amount, but
I'll take it.
I mean, anything that can keep people here, anything that can bring people to Louisiana, I think is certainly encouraging. And this is exciting. I mean, we're talking about the world's richest man. We're talking about a company that is obviously exciting. Just had their IPO and has got great future and tremendous relations with NASA. So
Right.
I mean, yeah, I think it's exciting. We're talking about 130,000 acres, so it's going to be a huge facility.
Yeah, 130,000 acres, and the marshland part of this, or the sportsman's paradise part of this, does worry me. As does, and look, Elon Musk can be portrayed as a villain a lot in the news, but man, when you start digging into people who've had business dealings with him in the past, he's so feast or famine.
Right.
So hopefully,
look at how I mean, Texas has been transformed with their dealings with Elon Musk.
Yeah,
and it's certainly been I think overall a big benefit to Texas. I mean, big benefit to Austin. I mean, I'm just seeing how that area has been transformed. I mean, it would be great for Louisiana to get in on some of that excitement. And I don't know. I do share the concerns about what this could do environmentally. Hopefully, there'll be a balance there. Hopefully that will be something that will be protected in this. So that's going to be the challenge. I'm sure this is not going to be started without a lot of legal challenges, as you can imagine.
Oh, no, they're going to come at him from every angle possible. And as I understand it, and I've walked through all the pluses and minuses, the area where it's going in is strategic, not because of lack of population, although that's a part of it. You got to have a 25-mile buffer zone, or 10 miles that they're going to use, another 15 miles around as a buffer zone in case something like a rocket falls out of the sky. You've got that, but it's not about what's on the ground; it's about what's in the air and the angle to get into space. As I understand it, somehow geographically that matters.
Right, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
So
right?
I might, I'm not wholly against it. I do want to protect what we have from a sportsman's paradise perspective, but I mean, it's there's so much upside here. I mean, you're talking about bringing a company into town who, it's
got all kind of growth potential. I mean,
right.
Look at the future of SpaceX. I mean, it's going to be extremely bright.
Yeah.
And, we're going to be partnering with them possibly. So, yeah, that would be exciting, and who knows what else it could lead to.
And the
as far
residual jobs that would come from it. I mean, it's just
Mhm.
first-hand jobs, second-hand jobs. It's just, or direct and indirect jobs. It's just, it has
Right.
a lot. It has a lot there. So hard to
Yeah.
not like it. Hard to not like it as a whole. Easy to pick apart individual pieces, but hard to not like it as a whole.
And then it's it's the same thing sort of with the data centers and everything, where there's always environmental concerns. I mean, there's excitement as far as the jobs and the potential, but then you've got to balance that with the environmental issues, and hopefully that can be done.
Well, so
it can be a win-win.
I mean, it's different with the environmental concerns, though. Like it's up in Richland Parish. Is there going to be an increase in your electric bill? Is the environmental concern? Is the footprint going to be affect the your electric bill's the main concern? This is I don't know. It feels different this way around, but it's no matter what movement there is forward, there is always going to be something that pops up where someone on the internet says it's a bad idea.
Right.
So.
I mean, when they built the Superdome here in New Orleans, there was
Yeah.
a lot of pushback. I mean, a lot of people did not want it.
Which
So they
in
had to push
hindsight
through all of
sounds
that.
so stupid, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
just to look back that much, that far, the Superdome, by the way, the Superdome all opened 50 years ago yesterday. No,
Yeah.
sorry, 51. 51 years ago yesterday. I was off by a year. It was 1975, not
And it's
1976.
it has been one of the most adaptable buildings in the world. I
Yep.
mean, the fact that it is still the home for the Saints and so many other events is amazing. So they've done a tremendous job with that.
We got to. Oh man, look at the time's moving way too fast this morning. New Orleans, Nola.com, the headline talking about New Orleans' budget. Are y'all in trouble?
I mean, I think there's a lot of projects that are going to have to be delayed. I mean, the budget shortfall is real. So, I mean, we're talking about hiring freezes, spending cuts, departmental reductions. I mean, we're talking about extreme measures, but I mean, there's no choice. It has to be done. So you got to fund the essential services.
Sure.
And then I think everything after that, you have to look at very carefully. So, yeah, it's some massive projects, big projects are going to be delayed. They're tapping into their rainy day funds. I mean, they're making choices that I don't think are ideal at all. But it's the consequences of Latoya Cantrell and also the poor relations between the city and the state.
One of the things that Sid Edwards found when he moved in to the mayor's office here in Baton Rouge was that there was just a lot of bloat within the city parish within the number of employees. Has anybody taken the deep dive on that front in New Orleans? I mean, I know there are many more needs for a bigger city. There are many more needs for New Orleans specifically when it comes to like sewage and water and roads. I mean, those are two problems that are a lot larger there than they are anywhere else in the world. Has anybody taken a deep dive into the bloat within the front office?
I mean, I don't think to the degree that we should, and certainly I think that is a potential area for more savings. I would think there's plenty of areas that can be cut as far as City Hall. So yeah, I would hope Joe Giarrusso is examining every dollar, and I mean I've got confidence in them because I do think we've got some adults now in charge, and we've got some people that are serious, and they've got no choice. I mean, they've got to be. They were left a disaster.
Well,
and
yes,
it really hasn't gotten the attention it deserves. But I mean, they were in dire straits here when they came in. So when they found out what the situation was.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's how you address the situation once you inherit it. I mean, because if the way you address the situation is say, just cut off infrastructure projects. Well, I mean, the roads that are underneath New Orleans drivers are pretty horrible by and large. So
Right.
that's not necessarily the best idea. But along the way, cut off infrastructure projects, spend the rainy day fund, blame Baton Rouge. But at no point do they say, hey, we have too many people working in the front office. There's no or at least not in the NOLA.com article I read.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that has been a narrative, and I think it should be. I mean, I think there should be cuts. big time cuts, and I think we can survive. Maybe some departments can be consolidated. There's some radical measures that certainly can be undertaken, and they might move to that. But right now, they're doing some of these big things that you just mentioned, reducing overtime, hiring freeze, targeting furloughs. I mean, that kind of thing. But they're going to have to continue to do that because this isn't going away anytime soon.
No, it's
not. At the same time, they're trying to figure out, how to make changes to another dysfunctional entity called the Sewage and Water Board, and try to bring about some leadership there, and replacing some members that have been appointed by Cantrell and reforming it. So the city's going to have more control over that. So I do think that is good, because that has been a problem for literally decades.
Last one before we get you out of here, we got 30 seconds on it, and that is qualifying opens tomorrow. Are you hearing any surprises that we haven't heard about yet?
I think there will be. I think Lake Miguez is, I guess, a big question mark.
I'm to the point where I'd be shocked if he doesn't run. I'm like, if he doesn't run in the 6th, I will be legitimately surprised.
Right.
So I know he hasn't said, but yeah.
One of the rumors was, well, maybe he won't run and he'll run for governor next year.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm certain he's going to run for something.
Yeah.
But boy, he's been thrown a curveball by all this, and he's been quiet, and this speculation is running rampant. Yeah. So that's going to be really the interesting thing. What does he decide to do?
Yep, absolutely. He's Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. Coming up, he's on the air in 10 minutes. Always appreciate the time, man.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Yep, you take care as well. Coming up closer to 6:50 at Talk 107.3 FM. If you or someone you know and love is battling with anxiety, depression, you need NeuroJust in your life, especially if you've tried other methods of therapy, whether you've tried the antidepressants and you hate the side effects, you hate the diminishing returns, or you've gone through the sit-down, talk-it-out therapy and it just doesn't seem to take. NeuroJust specializes in transcranial magnetic stimulation. It is pain-free. It is non-invasive. It is FDA approved. And oh, by the way, the people make all the difference. I got to tell you, one of the biggest things when you're in that anxiety, depression, constant fight or flight, the exhaustion that it leads to and the isolation that it leads to, from the moment you walk through the door, you know that love is on the other end. From the moment you walk through the door, you know there's people there looking to help. Learn more at neurojust.com. Tiesto remix. They need to update this spot too. Golly, that's terrible. Sure riot, bitch.
I still haven't heard the new Top Dog Wall, but I'm listening.
I think they're rerunning some because the latest one sounds like one from about 4 months ago.
It's only on FMF, right now.
No, 106.5.
Okay.
All the New Orleans stations. 94.1. They target urban. They're never going to buy Talk 107.3. Although I wish they would. I would offer to do live reads exactly like the guy who does the spot. Wouldn't it, though?
Yeah, they wouldn't buy any of those stations. I mean, the only one maybe would be ESPN. Maybe. That's a big maybe.
Yeah. Could be.
Could you imagine?
Tell you what, though. He already buys Moscona. So. Yeah. Yeah. .655 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Thanks again to Jeff Crouere from Ringside Politics for hopping on board right there. Dr. Cade Brumley, our state superintendent of education, slated to join us 7:15 all the way through. Well, through 7:50. If we can keep him an extra 10 minutes on the back end, we will. If not, if he's got to bounce, we completely understand because it's the first week of school. Not everywhere, but just about everywhere throughout the state. So it is a busy week for him. 180 Pros, 180pros.com is the website, 180pros.com, or give them a call, 330-2200. Small business owners, if you are looking to upgrade your network, build out your network, if you're just getting started and you need an IT partner, you need someone who is more than just an IT provider, you need someone who will base their success off of your success, you need 180 Pros. And there are so many areas where the partnership makes a bigger difference than just having a provider. And I'm going to give you a great example here on the front. This is something I didn't even think of, right? Small business owner, you don't necessarily have your own IT department. You probably don't have your own IT department. You're going to call on someone when something goes wrong. That's where 180 Pros comes in. They base their success off of your success. But before something goes wrong, let's talk about when you're building things out. What do you actually need? Not just in a network for your computers to talk to each other, but in a network for building out for social media. This is going to be a part of your business, right? It's a part of everybody's business. Do you have the right hardware and software to take care of your needs? Collaboration is what it's all about. And that's what you get from a partner at 180pros.com. You heard a little bit about this in news at the bottom of the hour. And shout out to our news partners over at Louisiana Radio Network. I'm going to I'm going to start off by saying the amount of bias in the face of absolutely no evidence is getting ridiculous when it comes to the data centers. There's a trio of groups joining forces in challenging Entergy Louisiana's proposal to build 7 new gas plants for Meta's new A1 data center up in Richland Parish, though Governor Landry's lightning speed initiative, through the lightning speed initiative, not though. Susan Stevens Miller, a senior attorney at Earth Justice, says Entergy and Meta are trying to ram through these gas plants by leveraging their political influence. Cut 7.
Fast track proceedings like these make meaningful public participation and careful regulatory review far more difficult. The compressed timelines limit parties' ability to analyze evidence, engage stakeholders, and evaluate long-term impacts.
Logan Burke is an executive director at the Alliance for Affordable Energy. He says even though Entergy and Meta have said time and again that they will pay the entire cost of this infrastructure build out, they can't be taken at their word. Cut 8.
Governor Landry released an executive order stating that ratepayers should be protected from all costs relating to data centers. This executive order has roughly the same force of law as does the president's ratepayer protection pledge, 0.
Then just call them liars. I mean, if the governor's side, if Meta's side, if Entergy's side is all telling you the ratepayer is not going to have to pay for it, just straight up call them liars then, if that's where you're at. It's one or the other. By the way, Burke's comments come days after Entergy CEO Philip May shared a letter stating that Meta has embraced the ratepayer protection pledge and is committed to paying the entire cost of the infrastructure required for the facility. Now, Paul Arbahay, a senior analyst at the Union of Concerned Scientists, says the Public Service Commission needs to step up to protect ratepayers once and for all from any costs related to these data centers. Cut 9.
Entergy and Meta structured their deal with flexibility to potentially keep the gas plants and other infrastructure on the ratepayer books in the event that Meta walks away from the data center.
You know, a good exercise to follow as all these things happen is the term follow the money pops up every once in a while. But I would go back and find out who's funding Earth Justice. I would go back and find out who's funding the Alliance for Affordable Energy. Sorry. I thought you had said 10. Umbrellas don't normally fold. They just close and open. It's too much. It is too much. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Breland producing, starting off your 7 o'clock hour at 73 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we broadcast live from the 180 Pros studio. Sorry, I'm laughing.
You tell.
You had to be listening back at 6:25, more than a half an hour ago, when we were going through the genetics checklist. And we were talking about the No Fear t-shirts and the Big Johnson t-shirts. I just opened a DM in Twitter about somebody, Matthew, who saw a Big Johnson Racing t-shirt. I'm not going to say what the slogan was, but it just, I opened it as we were coming back in, and I'm like, I know better than to do that, but it made me laugh. So the slogans were just epic. I mean, epic. And we should all be embarrassed for having lived through the 80s and 90s. We were just horrible people.
Back in the day, we had no fear.
No, we had no shame either. I want to finish up my thought real quick. I got caught by the top of the hour right there. We were talking about the opposition to the data centers and the folks like Logan Burke, who is the executive director of the Alliance for Affordable Energy, who basically is saying that Entergy, Meta, and your state government are nothing but a bunch of liars and they're lying directly to you. Follow the money on these groups that are speaking out so loudly, because Earth Justice in particular caught my eye, because the Pelican Institute recently did a study about where all the opposition was coming from. The study is called Barriers to Louisiana Energy Dominance. And one of those barriers was, and I gotta scroll back down and get to it again. One of those barriers was roughly $115 million being plugged into Louisiana media that is in opposition to anything that goes up anywhere, basically. It's in opposition to data centers. It's in opposition to, you're going to find it in opposition to SpaceX. You're going to find it in opposition to CCS. At least $115.5 million in out-of-state funding, primarily from donors in California, Washington, D.C., and New York, is flowing to Louisiana-based groups working to shut down the state's foundational energy industry. Top donors include Bloomberg Philanthropies, Bezos Earth Fund, Waverly Street Foundation, Windward Fund, and the Tides Foundation. The report also documents expansive legal operations by Earth Justice and raises urgent concerns over its financial ties to Energy Foundation China, an organization scrutinized for alleged connections to the Chinese Communist Party. That's where that was going before. I mistimed the end of that segment. I wanted to finish up that thought because when you have a group like Earth Justice speaking up, you want to take into account everything. All right, we've got Dr. Cade Brumley coming up in about 10 minutes. Let's get you to top stories and trending. The mayor's commercial building facade improvement program is off and running, making a total of $300,000 available through individual grants. The program prioritizes projects located within two key commercial corridors, Scenic Highway and Scotland Avenue. There's a number of different, facelift improvements, a fresh paint job, that sort of thing. The program is open, or the application period runs through August 28th. Give me one quick second here, as I'm about to open the door for Dr. Brumley. Let's go. Boop. You heard it? All right. Number 4, taking you to the other side of the river. The bridge over Bayou Grosse Tate between Highway 77 and Sydney Road will be closed this Friday from 8:30 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. That closure, according to DOTD, is for routine bridge inspection. Keeping it on the west side, a mosquito sample has tested positive for West Nile virus, according to mosquito control over there. As a result, officials are stepping up abatement efforts and asking residents to eliminate possible breeding sites. Dump out any standing water is what they're saying. Number 2, this is a curious one. One of 2 suspects who escaped while being transported through Tangipahoa Parish by Border Patrol agents has been caught, according to Tangipahoa Sheriff's Office. Agents conducted a traffic stop on I-12 eastbound in Tangipahoa heading into St. Tammany around 6:45 a.m. I believe this was yesterday. 3 men in the vehicle were detained, but the driver and the front seat passenger ran from agents. One headed north of the interstate, the other ran south. Both were barefoot and handcuffed at the time, but they were able to catch one of them since then. Spectators could be banned from wearing pink in support of Madison Brooks, as Desmond Carter, the first suspect in her rape case, is set to go before a jury in the coming weeks. Carter's defense team says support for Brooks in the form of wearing pink actually equals intimidation. What you got, Breland?
RFK Jr. and CNN's Dana Bash went back and forth pretty hard on vaccines over the weekend.
I know. That was quite the spectacle. It was back and forth. It was confrontational from the start. And look, maybe there's something to that line of reporting, that line of interviewing. Just, hey, go out there, start a fight, and then see what happens. And it's not my style, because I feel like the reporter, the journalist who's doing that, is making themselves the story and not the story the story.
Right.
It just, when you're on attack like that, it's more about you than it is about getting truth.
Are getting famous on social media. Some of them do that.
Yeah.
Try to do that too.
Dana Bash has been around forever, so she doesn't even need that. So
Right.
why?
So yeah. Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong couldn't muster up a yes or no answer to the simple question: should Thanksgiving be canceled?
Yeah, that seems like a pretty simple question. I mean, that's just.
And if you're going to say an answer, stand by it and say why.
Well, so this dates back to around COVID, and she had a number of tweets out there suggesting that it should go away. But like, if you're in favor of that, if you believe that like Thanksgiving is somehow harmful to Native Americans or exploitative or whatever, then yeah, just stand by your answer.
She still can't answer the question.
Nope.
Huh. The Gen X checklist is resonating just about everywhere. It is popping up on social media.
Yeah.
The whole Bid Johnson.
we ran through, so one of the categories within the Gen X checklist was we had no fear. And there should be a follow-up that says that, as you're turning 50, you fear everything. Because, I mean, it's
very true, though.
The
older I get, the more I fear.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But that's where the Big Johnson thing came from, was the no fear t-shirts led to the other t-shirts. So, but golly, of the 9 categories on the checklist, I hit 7 of them. and I'm
What was the one about swinging punches? Like,
not afraid to throw hands, still willing to throw hands.
oh yeah,
So
I could see you doing that, and so could I.
that's crazy though, isn't it?
Yeah,
That just
throw hands.
throw hands. If you haven't seen the Gen X checklist, you need to check it out. And if you have seen it and you found it relatable, hit us up over in the chat. We're live on Facebook every single day, the Talk 1073 Facebook page. We're live courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. Hit us up. We'd love your feedback. We're at 713 at Talk 1073 FM. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, our education superintendent, Dr. Cade Brumley, is in with us next. $7:15, Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Before we get to education, Superintendent Dr. Cade Brumley, got to remind you about Industry Makes, industrymakes.org. Great tie-in with our 650 segment, if we could, because anytime you see anything moving industrially, there are going to be those that speak up against it. Well, what is the return serve from the world of industry in Louisiana? That's where you want to visit industrymakes.org. A lot of Q&A, a lot of frequently asked questions, a lot of myth busting going on. If you want the scoop from industry, the industry that's been making the products that run the world, from the shoes on our feet to the tires on our car to just about everything you see inside of a hospital, industrymakes.org is where you'll get the answer. School's back in as of this week throughout most of the state of Louisiana, so it is time for a deep dive visit with our state superintendent of education, Dr. Cade Brumley. Welcome back. How are you, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me. Ready to get started again for a new school year.
Absolutely.
It's the golden age of education in the state of Louisiana.
Is that the tagline
this
year?
Yes, I just came up with that.
Well, but it kind of is, though.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing where the improvements from a couple of years ago are really starting to stick. It's as we move from literacy to numeracy. Literacy didn't drop off because we started paying attention to numeracy, but numeracy caught up with literacy. And now we're seeing this in other categories as well. And we're also seeing that natural progression that you've talked about from the beginning was if you start, young, it's going to carry on through. So talk to me a little bit about just rewinding the clock a little bit to where things started here.
Well, look, I say that I am pleased but not satisfied because, we have just posted historic numbers, the highest academic proficiency rates in our state's history, but they're still too low. I mean, we still have a ton of work to do, but it's hard to not be a little bit celebratory if you're part of the educational system in the state, just knowing the progress that we've made. You know, we're the story of the country. There's not a state that's more rapidly improving. Harvard, Stanford, Dartmouth just put out a study, said we were the number one state in the country for academic improvement over the last 4 years, which is, again, just affirming to what we all know, going back to the basics, teaching kids to read, teaching kids to do math, thinking about the high school experience, making sure that students are ready for May 16 if they graduate May 15, trying to let teachers teach, do their jobs free from distractions as much as possible, make it a sustaining, fulfilling profession, and then give more parents options on the school that makes the most sense for them. And those are the areas for which we've been engaged and involved, and we're just thrilled with the progress.
Nation's report card has us at 32nd.
That's right. 49 in 2019, 32nd today.
How is it frustrating when you see the U.S. News and World Report come out with their state, like ranking states top to bottom? They put Louisiana as 50th, and within their internals, they still have us listed at 49th in education. And it's like how. And then, by the way, 2019 numbers they're using.
Yeah, well, they're using old numbers, and also the education rating connects higher ed and K-12. If you look into the subgroup, it does show K-12 down in the 30s, but its education is a broader sense. And so we just have to continue to drive that number down. And by getting greater academic outcomes for kids, we'll do that. But on the K-12 side, most predominantly, the nation's report card is what's used, which is the federal reporting. And we're just thrilled to be 32nd in the country for absolute achievement.
Well, and part of that is something that goes along with that is when something like U.S. News and World Report does this thing, they don't look to the future. They dwell on the past. We are 32nd, yes, but we're also number one when it comes to growth, like one when it comes to improvement, and not just in education. When it comes like the economy, we were 46th, but we're 18th in economic outlook. So they're dwelling in the past, and it's hard for you to like keep your feet underneath you when people keep looking in the rear view.
Yeah, well, if you look at the numbers and improvements, we're number one. We're number one in reading improvement over the last 4 years. We're number 2 in math, and we're the number one state overall. So again, lots of progress, but still a lot of work to do. I think we can continue to get better by investing in teachers. By giving them the tools and resources to be successful, by building leadership capacity throughout the state, by expanding school choice options to bring more competition to the system. And so all of those things are working. And we, have to take a moment to celebrate those, but at the same time, know we have to keep getting better.
You sent the State Superintendent of Education, Dr. Cade Brumley, is our guest. You sent out a letter yesterday to teachers and school system leaders helping protect classroom learning time. Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, you put that kindly. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you're a system level leader or you're a principal, you need to make sure that campus is peaceful and it's orderly. You need to make sure that classroom is peaceful and orderly. Teachers deserve to teach free from distraction. Other students deserve to learn free from distraction. And the laws are on the books. The legislature, our state board of education, we've all done the work to put the law on the books to make the classroom and the campus an orderly and a peaceful place. It just takes administration and implementation at this point to make sure that a handful of knuckleheaded kids aren't running the school, but in fact, the principal and the teachers are running the school on a day-to-day basis. And I think that we've been soft for way too long on behavior that hasn't been acceptable for the classroom or the campus. And it's like that broken window effect. If you allow one, then the next one happens and the next one. And like enough is enough. We need to make sure that we set high expectations for student behavior. We hold those students accountable for that behavior so all of the kids can prosper and learn.
So, it's basically a disruption will not be tolerated sort of scenario here.
Well, that's what I would encourage, because the school campus should be in and of itself an academic setting. The classroom should be a place where every child feels comfortable to learn. We also mentioned, in that letter that school systems need policies on bullying, and they need to understand what bullying is and make sure they're communicating and not tolerating bullying. But we also have to be clear about what is bullying. And bullying is a repeated pattern of behavior from a student that creates a problem with the school or makes another student feel uncomfortable.
I'm glad you brought that back in definition up, because it's true. Like, picking on kids and bullying are two different things entirely. Bullying is repeated and inescapable, and it deserves so much more attention. The more we dilute the term bullying, the less effective the enforcement's going to be.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can't call everything bullying,
right?
But if you have a repeated behavior or a pattern that causes one student to feel uncomfortable because another student is agitating that in some type of way, then you're at that bullying, and that needs to be dealt with. But beyond that, to me, we need to make sure that these classrooms are calm, they're orderly. The campuses are in that same form. And look, I get it. I'm a dad. I was a kid myself. Kids are going to be kids, and we're not talking about that behavior. We're talking about that type of behavior that's out of line. It's ungovernable. It's consistent, and it's a disruption, and it just shouldn't be tolerated.
And so the mantra is let teachers teach. The disruption thing keeps them from teaching. So how much falls on the teacher to be the disciplinarian in that scenario, and how much has to come from the front office to have their back to make sure that they're disciplinarian for a very short period of time to get back to teaching?
Well, I always believe that a quality lesson plan and quality instruction prevents a lot of inappropriate behavior, because the students are too engaged to be doing those other things. But at the same time, every teacher needs to know that their principal has their back. And oftentimes when you find teachers that leave a school, they're essentially leaving the school because they don't believe the principal has their back anymore, or they don't believe that they're supported in that classroom role. So teachers leave principals, not necessarily leave schools.
Right.
And so that's why these principals have to be strong. And our legislature a couple of years ago worked with us and passed this law, and I call it the trust us, don't blame us law. And what it allows for is, if the teacher calls for the school principal for some help in a classroom about a behavioral concern, and that happens a couple of times, that that student can be removed from that classroom. And there has to be a parent conference with the child's parent before the child can return. Brings everybody to the table to talk about the behavior, to talk about the issue. And also, that teacher is not allowed, according to the law, to be retaliated against by their administration because they raised a flag around a problem. And so that's an example of a law that's been passed, I think, that's been really helpful to teachers. Another example is, if you're suspended from school for 3 times, and there's expulsion from school from that regular setting. There's cell phone laws now in place that prevent cell phones from being on during the academic day. So we've done a lot of work to try and create a better academic environment, but it all takes implementation at that local level.
How much are we seeing already when it comes to, because this is something that gets very personal and very what's on paper from the Capitol, what's on paper from your office, it can get lost in translation when it gets into a real world scenario, because there's a lot of gray area within. So what's the real world implementation looked like so far?
Well, again, this is where I give a lot of credit, to our governor, to our legislature, to our state board. I truly believe they have done their job to allow local school systems, local school boards, the governing bodies of those, and then schools in and of themselves, to have environments that are conducive to an education. They have passed the laws, they have passed the policies so that classroom setting, that campus setting can be peaceful and orderly. It just does take implementation. And so that's why, Brian, I sent that letter out. I sent the letter out to those superintendents to share with their principals so that everyone would understand, these laws are on the books. If you want this type of environment, you have the ability legally to do that. And that's what your students and your teachers deserve.
We got Dr. Cade Brumley in with us. Within the rest of this segment, I want to stick with let teachers teach. We'll get back into numbers and the start of the new school year in our next segment, but I want to stick with the let teachers teach mantra. This is something that, while so simple, covers so much ground. So walk me through a little bit about what it has meant so far and what it can mean in different areas, different aspects, because hey, if you've got a discipline problem, you got to let teachers teach, get the discipline problem out of there. If you've got, undue trainings, things that they don't need, Walk me through a little bit about what the intent of Let Teachers Teach was and how it's kind of changed and maybe some unintended consequences.
Yeah. So in early 2024, I launched the Let Teachers Teach work group, and I called together about 30 teachers from across the state. And I said, look, this is not for a press release. This is not a check the box activity. I want to know the areas that are making your job frustrating, that are preventing you from doing your job. Hands go up. Number one, cell phones in classrooms. So we worked with the legislature, passed a bill prohibiting, made it against the law to have your cell phones on in the state of Louisiana in the classroom setting. That's number one. Number two was student behavior. Work with the legislature, work with our state board, pass the policies and laws to make that a better place. Number three is all the paperwork. Sick of all the paperwork. And so we've thought through the ways to reduce some of that. And then number four, I would say, all of the excess trainings that teachers have to do, specifically at the beginning of the year, over and over and over again. How many times do you need to do bicycle helmet training if you're the teacher? How many times do you need to do some of these trainings? And so we moved to a one and done model. We think our teachers are smart. And some of these trainings, once they have that training once, they should be done. They should get a certificate. They shouldn't have to worry about that for the rest of their career. And so we try to take that off of their plate as well. And no, so that work's not done, but it's been helpful. It's been very popular. We've cut teaching vacancies across the state of Louisiana from over 2,000 to right at 1,000 over the last 3 or 4 years. And so we also have 9 out of every 10 teachers coming back year after year. So our retention rate across the state looks good. And so it's a great profession, but it needs to be one where the employees that enter the profession feel like the profession has their back. And, that's what Let Teachers Teach is about, and making the profession more fulfilling and sustaining, because it is a hard job. I was walking in this morning, whether you're a school superintendent or a principal or a counselor or a teacher in a classroom, this is crazy hard work. This is really a hard job that these people are doing every single day. And so I just want to do what I can do through my agency to help, make it just a little bit easier every day.
Dr. Cade Brumley is our guest as schools are getting back in all around the state. We're going to push pause right there. There's a couple things from this segment that I wanted to carry over to the next one, because the paperwork topic is that's part of it. But we'll also get into some numbers as the new school year is getting underway. Hey, before we get you to news, traffic, and weather at the bottom of the hour, do want to remind you the conversation shaping Louisiana's future. Those conversations are happening at Legislature 2026. I'll be live from Low Bears, Lake Charles, Thursday, August 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. and Friday, August 21st from 6 to 9 a.m. Talk 107.3 going to be your front row seat to Legislature 2026, and our coverage is presented by the Louisiana Chemistry Association, Commonwealth LNG, Continuum Strategies, and the TJC Group. Here's news on Talk 107.3. I meant Guarantee Health Solutions. You'll find them online at guaranteehealth.com. This is an idea. If you own a medical office of any kind, whether we're talking about if you run an urgent care, if you run a specialty practice, if you run a full-on hospital, because they do have a couple of hospitals on the roster over at Guarantee Health, you need to pay attention. This is an idea, a method of doing things, a way of improving your hospital or your medical office that was born out of experience. Founder Rachel Fricky had been going through a personal tragedy, and it was so transactional and so sterile and so non-customer based. From there, she is the tagline, bridging the gap between healthcare and hospitality. From there, she has built out a 4-pillar program that starts with concierge level service of your current patients and just grows the business from there. If you want to learn more, visit guaranteehealth.com. We're continuing now with Dr. Cade Brumley, our state's superintendent of education. It is back to school all week long throughout Louisiana. Is everybody this week?
Well, over the course of the next couple of weeks, I think for the most part, everyone will be back. But every local system across the state sets their own calendar.
Yeah. Has summer gotten shorter?
I mean, no, I wouldn't say within the last 10 or so years. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like for a while now, we've been essentially everyone's going back the first or second week of August.
I just might be at a time in my life where we're so busy with the kids over the summer that it feels like we just got out. So it just, but it does, the summer, it goes by so quick.
It always does feel like that. I mean, it's like, where did it go? And then all of a sudden you're back on the road and everyone's back.
Right. Oh, I know. Here's the thing though. I love it. Even though if there's increased traffic on the road and whatnot, I like the routine. I like knowing where my kids are going to be from day to day, from week to week, as opposed to we've got this camp on this week and this camp on that week. And where are we going? Am I even in the right parking lot?
Yeah. I was talking to someone yesterday and I asked, when does your kid go back to school? And they said, like August the 10th or something. And they said, but I wished it would have been yesterday.
Right.
It's like,
no, I know.
Get them out of the house.
Get me to it. Absolutely.
So my two boys, when they were, growing up, it was like, there was a point when it was definitely time for them to go back to school, whether it was summer or Christmas break. It was like, okay, you're at the point where it's time for you to go back to school.
So what are the telltale signs right there?
Well, they get short with each other.
Yep.
They get shorter with us.
Yep.
I'm bored, and it's like, okay, it is time for you to go back to that school environment for a while and get out of here.
Absolutely. We got Dr. Cade Brumley in with us. Before we move on, I wanted to revisit something from our last segment. Let's talk about paperwork. Paperwork is an inevitable part of every job. Within education, how do you streamline to make sure you're getting rid of the waste, but not something that's vital? How do you know the difference between what they need paperwork wise and what is, TPS reports from Office Space?
Well, this is very much tradescraft, but and a little wonky, but I'll answer your question. For instance, you hear lesson plans.
Yeah.
I've got to write lesson plans. I spent my whole Sunday writing lesson plans for the week, etc. I went into a coffee shop one time about 10 years ago, and there's a lady in the corner, and I can see she's got a laptop. She's crying. It's Sunday afternoon. And I think to myself, oh God, she's going to be a teacher. And so, and oh God, she's going to recognize me. And so I go over and engage in conversation. Sure enough, teacher, she's upset. She's trying to plan for the week. I think she's, single mom. She's trying to figure a lot of stuff out. And, not because of that moment, but just in alignment to that moment. Lesson plans in and of themselves, I don't know why teachers have to spend hour upon hour doing that. And so we've been trying to help with that. So we only want high quality curriculum in schools, and those high quality curriculum that are at that highest level, they mostly come with lesson plans built in that have been scientifically tested, that are good to go. And so what I encourage teachers to do is to just study your curriculum, make notes there in your curriculum, make that your own, and don't try to reinvent the wheel unless you just want to. Because if you're using a high quality curriculum, it should have resources available for you that you can just get in there and adapt and make it, fit your needs. And you shouldn't have to start from scratch like at Microsoft Word of let me write a week of lesson plans.
Right.
That's all built in. And so that's an example of one of the ways we're trying to work to eliminate some of that paperwork.
Well, and part of that is how in depth those lessons plans go as well. You don't want to walk in with a blank slate, but you also don't want your entire class scripted.
Yeah, that's right. And that was one of the complaints from teachers too, is we don't want to feel like robots. We want to be able to have some ability to teach in the way that fits, our style. And so long as they're hitting those academic standards, we have expectations in every grade level of what a student needs to be able to do. in that content area by the end of the year. And so long as they're hitting that, that's what is most important on that piece.
And it also goes back to, and look, I'm a son of a teacher and the husband of a teacher, so it goes back to the if you're letting teachers teach, lessons can actually get a little more in depth based off of a little Q&A.
Yeah.
When you have the kids' engagement, they're going to ask questions. When they ask questions, they're going to learn things they wouldn't have otherwise, because it just because it's not in the lesson plan doesn't mean it can't be brought up in class.
Well, and our let teachers teach. Sometimes I'll have some hard-nosed, individuals. Oh, you can't just, willy-nilly let the teachers teach. You gotta, have these structures and all. And I'm like, look, our let teachers teach initiative doesn't mean we lose expectation. We still have an expectation that the teacher delivers high quality academic content and that the student understands and knows that. And in fact, we have an accountability system in our state that's been called the strongest in the country in the way that we communicate school quality to the public. And so let teachers teach doesn't mean that teachers just have freedom to do whatever they want. In fact, it means it's elevating the profession. It's making it more sustaining. It is further professionalizing the profession so that it is more fulfilling, and the results of their work are stronger and stronger with student progress.
We've got State Superintendent of Education, Dr. Cade Brumley, in with us. Before we get to some hard and fast numbers from the last school year, I do want to touch very quickly on, you mentioned about how the number of the teacher shortage has been knocked in half. How is recruiting lately?
I think, look, there is not a teacher in the state that works for the Louisiana Department of Education in terms of classroom teachers. Teachers are the employees of their local school systems or governing boards, et cetera. And what we have tried to do is eliminate barriers that prevent those organizations or boards from hiring people, making sure that we're expanding the pool of individuals who can teach. And I frankly think that school systems across the state have been doing a really good job of thinking about, and what I tell them, their most important investment from a budgetary standpoint is making sure they're compensating teachers well, so that they don't have teacher vacancies, so that every child in that system has access to a high quality teacher. And so you Brian, you've probably seen over the last few years from time to time, so-and-so parish is doing a pay raise, or this parish is doing a bonus, or these types of things. All
or
of
Meta
that
moves into Richland and everybody gets 50 grand.
Well, that's a different story. But all of that matters. The let teachers teach work matters, but teachers also deserve to be compensated fairly, and so that matters too. And I think the policies and the pay have worked into the fact that we've been able to reduce those vacancies.
And then there's a lot goes into that. Individually, districts, they're all they're not floating on an island. I mean, they get guidance and whatnot. It kind of walks us around to what the governor had said recently about, hey, go adjust your MFP and find some numbers. What's the state superintendent's reaction to that, and is there guidance on that front too?
Well, really, the governor really took unprecedented action here. It truly is unprecedented. And I get that people have different feelings about it on all sides, but he said, I want to make sure that teachers get some additional pay this upcoming year. And so this unprecedented action, this executive order that he signed, basically took a portion of each system's MFP, their state funding, and says, a certain portion of this has to go towards teacher pay. And if you are already committed to doing a teacher pay raise or teacher bonus for this upcoming year of at least $2,000, then we're not going to force you to pay it with this money. But if you're not, guess what? We're holding this amount back, and you're going to have to use it for a teacher's stipend or pay raise. And so what will happen this upcoming school year is that every teacher in the state of Louisiana will either receive a $2,000 stipend or a $2,000 permanent pay raise, and every support worker will receive that at the level of $1,000. And then at the same time, there's a lot of conversations around what does the state funding formula look like? How might it be changed so that we are making sure that we're able to provide for quality education for every child.
competition, breeds better results. And this is when you talk about how no teacher works for the State Department of Education. If you get different districts that are competing for better teachers, that are by offering better packages, better compensation, is the expectation that you will see better results. Because if Livingston isn't offering as much as Ascension, then teachers are going to make their way to Ascension, so Livingston's going to have to raise their game, and then vice versa.
Oh, I absolutely think that that's true. And I think that as we move more and more into the future, I think that school systems are going to have to think more and more around that employee environment and employee compensation package so that they can be competitive. Because again, every school system in our state is evaluated and is held accountable and receives a letter grade for their performance that is made public. It's hard. It's going to be hard to be an A-rated school system if you don't have teachers in the classrooms to make sure the kids know how to read and do math.
Right.
And so the most important thing, and from my opinion, from a budgetary standpoint, that systems need to do, make sure they're paying their teachers well, so that those classrooms are staffed. And in our state, I'll say it again, we have seen basically 9 out of 10 teachers coming back year over year the last few years.
That's awesome.
And I think that, you take any sector of work, whether it's healthcare or police or you name it, if you've got a 9 out of 10 return rate, that's pretty good. And we want to increase it, but we have to continue doing that through pay and through our Let Teachers Teach work around some of these extraneous things like the paperwork, like the student behavior, like the leadership on their campus, et cetera.
We got Dr. Cade Brumley in with us. I know I said I was going to keep you till 7:50. Can I keep you till 8?
Sure, let's go.
Okay, yeah, we got one more segment to go. We'll have 5 minutes on the back end after the break. We have talked about rankings, or as the state moves to improve, we've talked about rankings, but we haven't talked about hard numbers yet. Where did we finish our last school year when it comes to literacy, K through 3, LEAP scores, you name it? Where did we wrap up last school year? Where are we starting this school year? And where are the goals headed? That is all going to be on the back end of the break. We got to get you to Your Money Now coming up in just a second. Do need to remind you about One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. O-N-E, spell it out. OneBathAndClosets.com. Bottom line, when it comes to your house, if you didn't build your house wasn't built for you. I know that sounds simple, right? But think about it. Is your bathroom exactly the way you would like it? From, do you have the walk-in shower? Do you have the right lighting, the right tiles on the floor? All the things. My wife and I walked through this last year. We made our bathroom built for us. We called David Duvall at One Bath and Closets. We called 400-8005. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Just a few minutes left here with Dr. Cade Brumley, who's been very generous of his time in a week where it's back to it for most of the state of Louisiana. Back to school is going to be going on all week long, probably through this week as well. All right, Dr. Brumley, let's talk about numbers here. We talked about rankings a little bit, but where did we finish last year when it came to, not just where we rank on improvement, but like, let's say the number of K through 3 students who are reading at or above grade level, because that's been an emphasis for the longest period of time.
Yeah, well, I mean, over the last few years, we put in like this standardized process where every student in grades kindergarten through third will get a math screener and a reading screener 3 times a year. Parents get notified. Teachers can use that information to tailor instruction to individual kids. And so on our reading side, what we saw last year from the beginning of the year to the end of the year was about over a 16-point jump of students that were proficient at the beginning of the year versus students who were proficient at the end of the year, about 16-point difference, which is, you would expect over the course of the year, the academic process, the instructional process should get more kids proficient in reading. That was a pretty good jump. And then what I found even more interesting, I told our team, I said, okay, it's good. Like, yeah, students improve from the beginning of the year to the end. They should, but let's look at the end of last year to the end of this year to see where do we finish at the end of each year's. And this year we were actually 2% higher in reading proficiency for kindergarten through third grade kids than we were last year. So 2% at scale is thousands of kids,
right,
that are now reading more proficiently across the state. So we're really pleased with those reading numbers. Our math screener is evolving, moving. And so we'll be able to provide information on that within the next couple of years, but we're still testing out a good bit of that.
I probably shouldn't have saved numbers till this late because I'm a numbers nerd, but does the 16% jump from beginning to end versus a 2% jump from end to end, does that mean there's just that much of a natural summer regression?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think in students, and particularly in more economically challenged communities, you see a learning slide, a summer slide, a learning loss, whatever you want to call it. That's not the case for the family that they're, vacation in Europe, or
right,
or families going to Disney, or, having conversations and experiences and reading over the course of the summer. But it is a case when students aren't engaged over the course of the summer that we see that learning loss. And so, they come in at a certain point, and then we have to do our best over the course of the year to bring them up.
What about on LEAP results?
Yeah, look, we measure, or we call proficiency mastery. So in order for us to say a student is proficient on LEAP, they have to score at that mastery level or greater, meaning they have mastered the content. And so this year across the board, we had 36% of students across all content areas master content, 36%, which is the highest number the state has ever put on the board. If you looked at students at the basic level, which is just below that mastery level, we're in the 60s, near 70% of students who are at that basic level of understanding or better. So the highest numbers we've ever had. But this is why too, Brian, like someone in your audience right there is saying, oh, only 36% mastery, that's nothing to brag about. Agree, but it is the highest we've ever been. It's good progress. And that's why I always say, look, we are pleased with the progress, but we're not satisfied because there's still more work to do.
We've got less than a minute to go. What's the goal for this year? Do we have goals set for this year as far as, we've seen literacy, numeracy, we've seen civics, and we're moving on to a new subject. What are the goals?
Well, the goal is the pursuit of academic excellence, in schools. That is what I want. At the same time, I'm going to use my time in a little bit. I'm going to, take away the time and just say,
go
look,
for it.
I want to encourage schools and families just to work well together, to communicate with each other. The school has a responsibility to communicate well to the families, to keep families informed. And I think, too, the parent has a responsibility to communicate and show up for their kids. And so the more that those two can collaborate together, I think the better off the child's going to be.
He is Education Superintendent Dr. Cade Brumley. Thank you so much for so much time this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hour 3 is coming up next on Talk 107.3. Dude, you nailed the out. How about that?
All right, man.
Okay, I'm keeping y'all on now.
All right. Well, you're gonna be popular with 3 hats. I don't know how you want to use them.
I don't know what to do with them yet.
I'll take one if you don't want one.
There you go. I'm telling you,
I already have one.
They're gold.
Yeah.
I want 'em to my
I'm gonna
kids'
figure out.
school.
We'll do something with the Facebook Live crowd.
Or just give them to your mom and wife.
Yeah.
Enjoyment of each next year.
Greatly
See you, my
appreciate it.
friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks, Brian.
no
I appreciate it.
problem.
No,
Always.
absolutely. My pleasure.
Yeah.
Completely. Good
Have a good
stuff.
school year, y'all.
we intend to. Let us know if you need anything.
You have about 19 reels that came out of that.
Oh,
Yeah, okay. Specifically him applauding the governor for raising the bar with the
Yep.
yeah. That's the number
That's
one.
one reel. Yep.
And obviously that's the featured for today. And then I'm taking Friday off, but I might come in and do community concerns because apparently nobody else is capable of it. So oops. Oh. Had you minutes left here with Dr. Cade Brumley for the full year. Had you minutes left here with Dr. Where are we starting this school year? Few minutes left here with Dr. Cade Brumley, who's been very generous of his time. Absolutely. Hour 3 is coming up next. I'll talk 173. Education super. Absolutely. School's back in as of this week. Matthew said in the DM on Twitter, this is what had me laugh at the beginning of last hour. I went to Talladega in 94 or 95 and saw a Big Johnson Racing shirt that said brakes are for pussies. I was absolutely appalled. What would your mama think if you wore that in public? Said I lived on Camp Pendleton in the summer of 93. No fear shirts were everywhere. I responded with, I had the Big Johnson casino shirt that said liquor up front, poker in the rear. Hindsight, not my best moment, but I was 16.
I think I had a pair of sweatpants. I had no fear down the side.
Those were popular too.
No reason why I wore them.
Yeah.
Just to fit in, I guess. Break up 4 moves.
seen an actual pool run. That's what I mean.
Well, you're going to be waiting until about October.
Right.
'806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane continuing right now. Brian here with you, Breedland Producing, starting off the 8 o'clock hour at 76 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We broadcast live from the 180 Pros studio. 180 Pros, not your IT provider, your IT partner. Thanks again to Dr. Cade Brumley. I mean, look, a week like this is super busy. And for him to take out an entire hour, basically, to come visit with us was fantastic. And I mean, it's hard not to be excited when the numbers are where they are. And it's hard not to, and not to, just fanboy too much here, but he's a large part of those results. Now, granted, the individual teachers at the individual schools are the largest part of those results. But why didn't we see these results from before? And I'm remembering back with, Dr. Brumley's tenure as his time as education superintendent. When he came on board, it was COVID. It was COVID, and it was 2020, and it was the 2020 hurricane season where we ran out of names, so we used Greek letters. I mean, we ran out of hurricanes before it was all said and done. Like, it was storm after storm after storm. So everywhere in South Louisiana had been hit by a storm, and everywhere in North Louisiana was affected by COVID. And between the two, it was ridiculous with the homeschooling and the partial dial-in schooling, like just everything. It took probably 3 years before he fully had his feet underneath him to recover from all that, to have kids back in schools, not just because of COVID, but to have kids back in schools because their school hadn't been rebuilt yet. I mean, we had a lot of that. You had Laura, you had Zeta, you had Ida the next year. So once everything was back up and running, now we're starting to see the effects of what he's been doing. And it's hard not to look at that and say, he's stolen the mantra of the Haldane family, always happy, never satisfied. But it's hard not to take a look at that and say, you know what, there's reason to be happy. So greatly appreciate his time. Congresswoman Julia Letlow going to join us in our next segment. And your mic is on. Your mic is on. Congresswoman Julia Letlow slated to join us in our next segment. We've also got Mark Romig going to join us. Is that him now? Yeah. Okay, then let's do this. Let's go to him now, and we'll hit this day in history later on. Oh, he hung up. Okay, no worries. Then we won't go to him now. Let's hit this day in history instead.
He actually wanted to make sure that he can get through this morning.
Okay,
so that's what that was. He's like, I'll call back.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't want to miss out on him. Here's the cool thing, right? I'm going to talk to him again in 2 weeks.
That's cool.
When we're at the Louisiana Travel Association. And you're not going to want to miss that conversation because I can tell you right now, I've already got mapped out what I'm talking about with him. So
that's pretty cool stuff. Okay, let's see. This day in history, look, normally I would put it in birthdays, but it's notable enough to be in the major news category. In 1901, legendary jazz trumpeter and vocalist Louis Armstrong, born in New Orleans, this day in history.
Okay.
In 1914, in World War I, this is where World War I truly turned global. Germany declares war on Belgium. Britain declares war on Germany.
Okay.
1944, Anne Frank is arrested in Amsterdam following a tip-off from an informer who was never identified. Obviously, she laid this all out in her diary as well.
I mean, who is the a-hole that turned in Anne Frank, right?
Right.
I said it's a shame that person's never been identified.
I know. Still. In 1984, Prince's Purple Rain album goes number 1 and stays number 1 for 24 weeks.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yep.
In 2020, fast forwarding, the UN says COVID-19, the pandemic, creates the biggest educational disruption in history. You just kind of spoke briefly about that with Dr. Cade Brumley, affecting nearly 1.6 billion students in 190 countries. That was 94% worldwide affected educationally by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yep.
2020, also keeping it on COVID, the cases surpassed 200 million with the death toll at 4.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness. And in 2022, InfoWars, Alex Jones. we remember seeing him in the news. Well, he was ordered to pay 4.1 million in compensation damages to parents of a child kid killed in the Sandy Hook massacre.
Yeah.
After Jones claimed it was a hoax.
Yeah, he said it was a hoax. He said there were like crisis actors and whatnot. And a whole bunch of people believe him.
That is what he's about. He says things that are outrageous all the time.
Yep.
All right, what else you got?
This day in 1790. Almost got that backwards right there. August 4th, 1790, the U.S. Coast Guard was founded. Happy birthday to the Coast Guard.
Awesome.
And this day in 2006, one of the most quotable movies of the last 50 years. Care to guess?
I don't know.
I'll wake up in the morning, I'll piss excellence.
Oh, gosh. Well,
I'm
Will
just
Ferrell.
the best there is. Yep. Talladega Nights premiered on this day in 2006.
Okay. Happy birthday today, Barack Obama, 44th president of the U.S. Jeff Gordon, 4-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, Hall of Fame driver. Meghan Markle has a birthday today. I feel like I'm missing many. Of course, Louis Armstrong. We covered him at the top of major news. That's all I got that's notable.
Also, we'll include Roger Clemens in that number. Long time, and I mean a long time White House reporter, White House correspondent Helen Thomas was born in this day in 1920.
Oh, wow.
And Billy Bob Thornton, it's his birthday as well.
All right. Notable deaths. Let's see. The only one. Oh, this is a big one. Of course, Marilyn Monroe passed away on this day in history.
That was the only one I had.
Yeah, that's the only one I have that's notable. So National Day today. I have, hold on. I have civic holiday, but no. Let me see.
What?
Yeah, hang on. I know. I was like,
I have National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, which I feel like they have once a month.
Right.
But this is the day that I have it down. So I'm not.
You know what? I have a better one for you.
Go for it.
National White Wine Day.
Okay.
I love a good Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay. We can roll with that.
Yep.
Happy National White Wine Day.
Or Chardonnay.
Celebrate accordingly. Yes. Or Pinot Grigio.
Oh, you know what? Use card Coast Guard birthday.
Well, that's what I. Yeah.
Yep. That's what we had on news. But yeah, not too many today. But National White Wine. Let's roll with it.
All right. That is your look at this day in history. Hey, before we take our break, and we'll have Congresswoman Julia Letlow after this. We've got in our backyard for 115 years, more than 115 years, ExxonMobil has been a part of our community. They've helped power Louisiana. They've helped do so in a very safe manner in our backyard. They've invested locally. They stand alongside the communities that we call home, that they call home. Now, ExxonMobil is building on their legacy through solutions such as carbon capture and storage as being the next chapter in Louisiana's energy story. This isn't just about us, y'all. This is about ExxonMobil competing on a global level. Now, they are always going to be the ExxonMobil whose bread and butter is what it's always been, right? They'll always be the ExxonMobil that we've known and loved. But as we move forward, the energy story that they're writing, the helping support jobs that they create, helping attract investment and connect rural Louisiana to new opportunities will involve CCS at ExxonMobil. Progress means looking ahead responsibly. How are they doing it? Well, you can learn about it by visiting aboutlaccs.com, aboutlaccs.com.
Talk 107.3. Hey, good morning, Julia. How are you? I'm doing so well. When do your kiddos go back to school? Oh gosh, I know a lot. I think East Baton Rouge, Ascension, Legacy go back Thursday, but there's one parish that goes back like next
I
week.
thought they go back Friday.
Yeah. Oh, they go back Friday.
I think so.
I know, that's crazy. For real, mom went back Monday, yesterday. Yeah, which is great. They go to bases though. Yeah, it is too hot. I know. I'm gonna drop you on hold. Okay.
$817 Talk 1073 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got we're nowhere near done yet. We're gonna check in with Mark Romig from New Orleans and Company in our next segment. Right now, though, it's time for a little DC Current presented by LABI. Congresswoman Julia Letlow on the hotline right now. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
Doing fantastic as well. Okay, so your 64 parish tour kicked off yesterday.
Yes, yeah. I am not in DC. I'm back in my favorite place, back home in Louisiana. We kicked off the 64 parish tour yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I love this is my favorite part about campaigning, but also about being in office because you just get to sit down and listen to the concerns and needs of everybody in your community. But what makes it so great this time around is that I get to visit all 64 parishes, not just my district.
Right.
And we had a great day yesterday, Brian. We kicked it off in Plaquemines and then went to St. Bernard and finished it off in Jefferson Parish in Orleans. And so today we're going to go and still hit South Louisiana. And my goodness, the energy is electric. It's been awesome to just sit down with people and mostly listen to them about their concerns, but also their hope for the future. So I could not be more excited. I'm in my happy place. I don't know if you can tell.
Well, I mean, it's yes, very, very much so. So is you just going to work your way the whole way around the state, 4 to 5 parishes at a time?
Yeah, that is the plan. So spend, a couple hours in each parish and, invite as many people out as we possibly can. And I just really have a great time listening to the people of every single square inch of this state. So again, it's my favorite thing to do, and I'm excited to kick it off.
So what are people in St. Bernard Parish talking about these days?
Oh gosh, everything that it relates to coastal restoration, flood insurance, those topics that I don't necessarily hear about in Northeast Louisiana. So it's been such an eye-opening experience. They have so many needs and great projects going on as it relates to infrastructure, being able to access other parts of the state. So we had a great conversation yesterday. I learned so much.
Where'd you go in Jefferson Parish?
So in Jefferson Parish, we went over to the sheriff's office, and this was absolutely fascinating to me, Brian, because they're using drones now to help protect our citizens.
Did you see the drone headquarters?
Yes.
I was there a couple weeks ago.
No, isn't it life-changing? I mean, that is going to be life-changing for Jefferson Parish.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. This is so cool. I was like literally just there a couple weeks ago. So what they're doing over there is, I believe right now they have 37 different drones stationed throughout different parts of the parish. And Jefferson Parish has it's not unique, but it's definitely rare in that you've got like suburbs, city, country, rural, and coast. I mean, Jefferson Parish runs all the way down to Grand Isle and then all the way back up through Metro and Kenner. So like you got to cover a lot of ground when you're the parish, and you've got, did they show off all their boats too?
Yeah. So what is so cool about this, Brian, I was just talking about it to my family last night. I said, they can get anywhere. So a distress call comes in, 911, you know all this, you saw it, but they show you the videos where a distress call comes in. If there's a burglary, they can have a drone there in 90 seconds, which in my mind is all about officer safety, because then you have officers advising, whoever makes it there first, okay, the burglar is on the west side of the house. And, it's a game changer, and it's also going to deter criminal activity. So, I mean, wow. Sheriff Lopinto said that they had the largest operation in the world in Jefferson Parish. So I said, well, how do we replicate this all across the state? So we're working on it. It was an awesome operation to go see.
Well, the really cool thing about it is you can replicate it by pieces, parts, right? Like if you're putting up drones that have to go like not through Orleans Parish, but around Orleans Parish, you could do that. And like when you look at Metairie, Kenner, Harahan, like all those areas on the East Bank, you can cover them really, really quickly because you said, from the moment the call comes in, drone goes up. Drone is on location before officer or before deputy is on location. So you get a full report before anybody rolls up. Can you imagine the lives saved?
It's the future.
Yeah, not just from distress, but from to have an officer arrive knowing the situation, knowing who is where and with what weapons. Like that is going to save lives in and of itself, not just of officers, but the whole public as well. It's a really, really cool program.
It is. I was geeking out. I'm glad you were too.
Very cool stuff. And I got to ask you about some people when we're off air, but we'll get to that later. All right. Yeah. So today, I assume you're like Lafourche, South Lafourche, Terrebonne, and whatnot, since you're in that area.
We are Lafourche, Terrebonne, Assumption, Iberville. We're gonna knock it all out. So I'm putting on my blue jeans and boots today. Gonna hit South Louisiana.
I mean, do you take breaks to go home?
Yeah. So, our goal is to make it back every night so I can, be with the kiddos and eat dinner and put them to bed. So,
and school starting, so.
I know. We were just talking about this. It starts for us Thursday. So, got to get some school supplies together, get their uniforms ready, but they're excited. They're ready to get back.
Oh, and well, we just had Dr. Brumley on last segment, and it's you could tell when they get a little antsy when it's time. When it's time, right? They start getting at each other a little bit.
Moms and dads too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all of us for sure. We've got Congresswoman and senatorial candidate Julia Letlow on with us. Want to talk a little bit about as you make your way around the state. I mean, there's going to be a lot of input that goes along with that. That's a lot of input to process in a very short period of time. How do you manage expectation? I guess is the hard way to put this, because you're a people pleaser and you want to be everything to everybody, but that's not always doable. How do you manage expectation around the state?
Well, I think you just have to be as transparent as possible. And we have had so many wins in the 5th District, sitting on appropriations, being able to really help out with some important projects around the state. And of course, everybody, wants their project done and to be at the top, but really it's just a matter of talking through that process about how it works to apply for that funding. But really, it part of my job is to listen to people and hear their concerns and issues. And most people just want to be heard. Every community has a unique situation that they're dealing with. And of course, you know me, I am a pleaser and I want to help in any way possible. And a lot of times we can.
Right.
And so that's what's so fulfilling about this role is that when you get the right leaders working together, you really can make a difference and come through for people. So again, of course, you do have to manage expectations sometimes, but for a lot of these projects, there's grant funding out there. There is, opportunities for them to apply for community projects. So it's really just a matter, and we've spent so much time in our office, dedicating team members to help people guide them through that process. And so that's just something I'm really passionate about.
Congresswoman Julia Letlow is our guest. You are doing a little bit of work back in DC as well, or have been, I should say. Tell me about Workforce Pell. What is this? What is Workforce Pell?
Oh, this is so awesome. So, I was just in St. Bernard where I was talking to the community college president there yesterday, Dr. Tenney, about this because workforce is so huge for Louisiana. You hear about it wherever you go. I know you talk about it a lot, Brian, on your show, and I'm so excited about the recent launch of short-term Workforce Pell, and this is expanding the Pell grants. It's that federal financial aid program for students to attend college, but we're going to use it for other workforce programs. Not every child needs a 4-year degree, and we're not pushing them into that anymore. And this is a great way to encourage, our kiddos to find an occupation that excites you, that you can become an expert in, and we'll work on finding the funding for it. So we haven't had this, but this was part of the One Big Beautiful Bill that often gets overlooked, that we were able to include this workforce short-term Pell. So these programs, they run from 8 to 15 weeks with support averaging around $2,200. So it's it's any program like an electrician program or welding or trying to get your diesel driving licensure. I mean, these are all kinds of jobs that we desperately need and right here in Louisiana. So I want to tell people if they're interested in applying for a Workforce Pell Grant, it's on a needs basis. And so all you have to do is fill out the FAFSA form online, which we also in DC streamlined and made it a lot easier for people to fill that form out. And so you just go to studentaid.gov to fill that form out. So if you have a child that you think would be interested in going towards this line of work, or if you are someone who wants to apply for one of these programs, my goodness, they are high-paying jobs, Brian.
Yeah,
we need more people to go this route.
Yeah, life-changing, high-paying jobs to be sure. And it's not as complicated as people. I think that's one of the more under-communicated parts of the whole equation, is that you don't need to uproot yourself for 2 years before you can make a new living. You're talking just a matter of a couple of months before getting the proper certifications, if that long. And the amount of help that's out there to push people along the way is phenomenal as well. And we're seeing it, whether you're talking about down in Ascension Parish at the River Park Megaplex, which I always get the name of that wrong, or, now up in your old stomping grounds in Richland Parish. And it's not official yet, but hopefully soon to be in Vermilion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I heard over and over again, from my communities is that we don't have the workforce, and these people who, are so eager to enter the workforce don't have a financial way to do it. And it's not fair that we're funding people to go get 4 years degrees, but we can't, help people out when they want to take an 8-week program, to get their commercial driver's license. So I'm so excited that this was included in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and we're going to get people, back to work.
We got right at a minute to go here with Congresswoman Julia Letlow, DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. When you clocked out for recess, where were we at with the CR?
Oh, well, you know me, I'm an appropriator, so I don't love CRs. But we're working through the appropriations process. But, my colleagues on the other side, they don't love to give us any wins at any time, and, are threatening another government shutdown, which no one wants. So this was just kind of a safety situation where we passed the CR on the House side. Yeah. So the Senate can do their job. And I think they're close to passing the CR on the Senate side. That'll give us funding through December because it runs out September 30th. that way we'll be able to get our appropriations bills hopefully through in November. But you know me, I feel like government should run the way our households do, that you have to pass a yearly budget.
Agreed.
And so I get really frustrated when that doesn't happen. But that's where we are with the continuing resolution and government funding.
I mean, easy taking shots to the Senate there, Congresswoman. You're hoping to swim in that water real soon.
I know it. I know I'm going to have to answer for those.
Yeah, she's Congresswoman Julia Letlow. Always appreciate the time. Enjoy your tour.
Thank you so much, Brian. Great to be with you.
Likewise. Oh, hang on. I want to talk to you during news. What? Nothing. Is that Mark? I owe the Baton Rouge Metro Airport a spot from yesterday, and I haven't gotten to them yet today. And I'm not going to do it while I have New Orleans and Company on. I'm not going to talk Baton Rouge Metro Airport right before talking New Orleans because, you know, they've got their own world-class international airport. So I'm a owe them one more after today, but I'll get to it in the last segment. No shit. Okay, come on. Oh man. Oh. Who? $8:37, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. About time to head down the road to New Orleans, check in with New Orleans and Company. Before we do that, though, I want to remind you about Mathern's. It is back to school to the grade school level throughout this week and next, right? Very soon, it's going to be time for the college kids to go back as well. Parents, if you've got kids going to LSU, you're going to want to take part in this, okay? Swing over to Mathern's on Nicholson Drive. Full service grocery store on LSU's campus. Get yourself a gift card for your kid. Load up the gift card on the front end. That way, when they're, going to grab something to eat, going to grab their groceries, whatever it is they need, they're taken care of on the front end. You could load up a gift card over at Mathern's and, have it just spaced out for the entire semester if you want to. And, oh, by the way, if they've got the Mathern's Rewards app and have their student ID, they could be saving 10% off their purchase every single time. LSU students, LSU faculty, LSU staff, you're getting 10% off of everything at Mathern's. Download the Rewards app today. Time to visit down in New Orleans. We got Mark Romig on with us from New Orleans and Company. How are you, man?
Hey, Brian. Good morning.
Glad to have you on. I'm sorry about the mix-up yesterday. We couldn't connect, but glad we were able to reconnect for today.
Thank you, sir, for that.
No, absolutely. And I'm already looking forward to seeing you over at the LTA in a couple weeks, which is just another example of New Orleans being built to host.
Yeah, appreciate y'all coming down for the gathering of all the statewide hospitality and tourism leadership.
Is that a different vibe? It's one thing when you're hosting different conferences, but now you're hosting other hosts.
Yeah, it's great. We moved that meeting around the state, as you know, and it gives everyone an opportunity to see parts of the state that maybe they didn't experience before or they'd like to know more about. And one of the best things I ever got out of working with Louisiana Travel Association is the fact that I got to know Toledo Bend like I never thought I would. I mean, just being able to get out and seeing that the state is so beautiful and so wonderful, and the people around the state are great, and they'll all be gathered in New Orleans, and you'll see them all firsthand when you're here. Looking forward to it. Cannot wait. This could be a long 2 weeks before we get there. In the meanwhile, there has been a lot going on throughout the city as well. We had Tales of the Cocktail. We've had the X Games Championships. What were some of your highlights? Well, the X Games Championship was truly remarkable, the way that they turned the Caesars Superdome into this multi-purpose example of competition with over 100 athletes from around the world. That was so special. And I think we really raised the bar for the X Games organizers, and they fell in love with Louisiana and particularly the Caesars Superdome. Tales of the Cocktail once again knocked it out of the park. You had bartenders and mixologists from around the world competing here and sharing their knowledge. And of course, Bocuse d'Or and the Pastry World Cup America's selections happened in New Orleans as well at the Ernest and Morial New Orleans Convention Center. Yet that world-class culinary, cultural, and gathering of great chefs, once again, kind of underscoring why Louisiana and especially New Orleans is a culinary capital.
Mark Romig from New Orleans and Company is our guest, talking a little bit about the summer that has been, but there's the summer that's still to come. Culinary is underway.
Yeah, Brian, we're so excited. Culinary is underway. It's running through the end of this month. We've got 142 restaurants participating and over 40 cocktail establishments, let's just put it that way, where you can go and get some wonderful value for brunch, for lunch, for dinner. And it's a great way to choose your favorite restaurants or, explore some new restaurants in various neighborhoods. But we're across the city and even on the North Shore. And it's just a great way to support the local restaurant community, but also to celebrate some great food, of course.
And it's also an opportunity to, get to explore some parts that you might not, the tourists especially, but might not ever leave the French Quarter. But this would be an opportunity to say, here's something fun to try that's just 10 minutes down the road.
Oh, very much so. Mid-City, Uptown, Lakeview, Gentilly, you name it. There are restaurants that are participating in. Again, these are all curated, prefixed lunch, brunch, and dinner menus. You can get all the restaurants by going to our website, neworleans.com. And it's an interesting program because we've also got a very special summer promotion. If you book a hotel through neworleans.com, and you have to do it through neworleans.com, if you book 2 or more consecutive nights through our website, you'll receive a $100 Visa digital gift card to spend during your trip. So you can use that to go to those restaurants or go to attractions or anything else that you want to use that $100 for. But it's just our way to compete in a very competitive market around this region to drive some business into our state, particularly into New Orleans, and get that spending happening here.
Yeah, whether you're talking about the last 3-day trip before school's back in, or maybe that first weekend once school is back in before football season starts. Either way, it's a great little getaway before you're really dialing it in for the fall.
It really is. And we've got the Saints opening up with their preseason game on the 15th of August. That's a Saturday against Jacksonville. And so that'd be another great weekend to come and enjoy not only culinary, but, a sports weekend in the city. And then August is also New Orleans Museum Month. We've got a free admission for a member of any one of the museums. You can join. You can be a member of any museum in New Orleans, and you'll have free admission into more than 30 other museums around the city. You and a guest at all of these participating museums. So it's another way for us to bring visitors into the city, see all these special exhibitions, and enjoy some of the greatest collections around.
I want to go along with that. There's the museum passport, isn't there?
Yes, the Museum Month passport. You can pick up a commemorative Museum Month passport at participating museums while those supplies last. And visitors who collect stickers from 10 or more museums, and I know that sounds like a lot of museums to visit, but it's a very compact city, so you can get around. You can enter to win prizes, including a 1-year membership to the participating museum of your choice. The Sazerac House and the Great American Alligator Museum are also participating. So although they're not membership-based attractions, visitors should check directly with them for entry details. But again, it's a great opportunity for locals as well as visitors to discover new institutions and go see some of their old, longtime favorite museums and experience more of New Orleans culture.
How much does New Orleans and Company keep track of where the visitors are coming from? I mean, do you get a lot of, or is there a trackable way to know how much of Louisiana is converging on New Orleans for that getaway?
Yeah, our analytics allow us to track visitors in a number of ways. Obviously, by check-in and seeing where their destination originated, where they came from. We have a number of tools that track iPhones, for instance, that will see an iPhone that arrives or a phone that arrives from, say, Wisconsin into the New Orleans area or Louisiana in general. And so we'll know where visitors originating their visit.
Mhm.
We do surveys every year. There's a visitor survey, and we can get information that way as well. We know that our sweet spot is this 400-mile radius, plus or minus a few miles around New Orleans,
Mhm.
where we get the bulk of our travel. And of course, a lot of that is drive traffic, but those are also 1.5 or 1 hour flights into the city. So that's our sweet spot. But then we're also attracting visitors from other nonstop cities across the country on a more easy basis, like the West Coast, East Coast, and Chicago. But it's a science. We're constantly tracking to see where our messages are hitting, and where they're not hitting, we're changing our strategy to go where they're getting more benefit for us.
Yeah, the backstory behind me asking that question was the tall ships. If you were in Baton Rouge, it was very easy to make an afternoon drive down, or a 1-day trip of it. And whether I come from a background in hotels before, so I know the tracking through check-in is a very, very easy thing. But I brought my wife and son down to New Orleans for we saw some tall ships, we went to a restaurant, and then we just went back home that evening. So it was the same day turnaround. And I've just been curious, and I've talked to a number of people from Baton Rouge who did that. And I'm like, does New Orleans even know how many people did exactly that?
Yeah, we have something called Placer ID that's been used in the past that will allow us to see if someone drove in from Lafayette or Alexandria or Baton Rouge. And those visitors is just as valuable as someone spending the night. We call those day trippers.
Yeah.
They'll come in like you did. You'll enjoy an activity. You might have a meal. You might go see another attraction. And then you're spending the night back in your own bedroom. But those are very valuable families that come in, and we, obviously we're messaging to those as well. I'm glad you mentioned Sail 250. It still is receiving such high marks. We were the first of 5 ports, and everyone said that we set the bar for the rest of the celebration around the country in that. So thanks for participating in that.
Oh,
Brian.
no, look, if social media was any indicator, it was unfair to the other ports.
I think the sailors felt the same way.
Sailors had a pretty damn good time. The sailors had a really good time.
Yeah. I do want to mention one more major event coming, and this is not till next year, but this is huge. As you know, IPW.
The powwow. Yeah.
That's right. It used to be called powwow. It's the International Powwow. It's the U.S. Travel Association event. It's the Super Bowl of the travel industry, and we're hosting it next year. It's a huge win for the city, for Louisiana, and the economy in general, because what happens is that thousands of international travel buyers and media come to your destination, in this case, New Orleans, and they'll be meeting at the convention center. And it's a trade event where they're all looking to buy travel into the United States. And when you have a host city like New Orleans hosting all of these, it allows us to put our best foot forward. So it's sort of like an unfair advantage now with all the other destinations that they're going to be in our city.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like over 100,000 pre-scheduled business appointments connecting 1,400 global travel buyers with 1,000 plus U.S. exhibitors. I mean, from all the cities are going to be here, Miami and Chicago and Las Vegas. They're going to be trying to sell their destination to all of these travel buyers, and New Orleans will be the host, and we're going to put the red carpet out for sure.
We've got 30 seconds to go with Mark Romig. I have to pivot. You did say we're just a couple weeks away from the first preseason game. Are you ready? Are you familiar with the roster? Are you ready to take the mic again?
I'm so excited. They're in training camp now. I'm getting used to some of the names. There'll be opportunities for us to winnow that down to the active roster when it comes to it. But the Caesars Superdome is going to be rocking on the 15th of August. And of course, this weekend is the big weekend for Drew Brees. He's being installed into the Hall of Fame. So it is football season, and we're going to be saying touchdown, hey!
Mark Romig, always appreciate the time. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
All right, Brian, see you later.
Awesome stuff. Here's your money now. He's the best. So he does the Love Nola podcast, and he has the official New Orleans survey or official New Orleans questionnaire. So I've written down all the questions on it so that I can, when we go to LTA, that's going to be my whole interview with him, is like all of his New Orleans questions tossed back to him. He's the best. Love him. Oh, I did my thirds. What a show off. Sort of. I earned 4 cents per gallon the last time I filled up. And after 10 gallons, my car took 10 gallons, and that gave me 40 cents. Woohoo! Let me go ahead and buy that yacht. It's so in my account right now. I need to move some money over. You can move it to your bank account. You can move it to in a number of different places. I'm probably going to do. So as of right now, I have $93.51. Well, no, so it was about 6 months ago. I moved 6 months ago. I moved $50 into my account. Lifetime, I've earned $287.27 over 3 years, 2 years.
So what's the catch? How does Upside get paid from
the gas stations?
Okay, that's what I thought. I need to just download it. My friend told me to download it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, so July 31st was the last time I used it. I earned 32 cents. July 27th, I earned $1.19. July 26th, I earned $1.35. There's a bunch of charges that are still processing, and sometimes they get rejected, and I hate that. Oh. FlyBTR.com is the website for the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com. Booking out your plans for the LSU football season. You want to go to Tennessee? You want to go to Knoxville to see the Tigers take on the Vols? Delta's built out a flight for that. They're going to leave the Friday before the game, come back Sunday after the game, which means that you get to enjoy all of game day in the contentious environment that will be Lane Kiffin's old stomping grounds in Knoxville. Now, you want to go to Lexington to see the Tigers take on the Wildcats in Kentucky? Delta did it there too. Flip that around. You got friends coming in from Clemson. You have friends coming in from Tuscaloosa. Or Birmingham. You have friends coming in from Texas A&M, or no, Texas, I should say. Delta's got you covered on all three of those as well. And the Baton Rouge Metro Airport in general has flights built out to get you to LSU football all season long, or bring folks in for LSU football all season long. You can learn more at flybtr.com. So you heard the news at the bottom of the hour about the insurance rates with State Farm. If you have, not the insurance rates, the dividends, I should say. If you had a State Farm auto insurance policy before the end of last year, be on the lookout for a check in the mail. This is kind of cool. State Farm is issuing policyholders in Louisiana a special dividend of around $138 per vehicle on the policy. Louisiana Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple says dividends like this one they're actually not uncommon.
When an insurance company takes in more money than the anticipated claims that they pay out, this is the mechanism to give that money back.
Now, State Farm is Louisiana's largest auto insurer, so it should be more people getting this. $136 million in dividend payments will be issued in total. Temple says any refund is good money, and any money back in the pockets of consumers is a blessing.
This is not a credit on your policy. This is a check that you will receive in the mail that you can deposit and spend, hopefully, on something other than insurance.
And State Farm isn't the only one. Well, as of right now, yes, but hopefully, if you're with another insurer, this becomes a more common thing.
This is part of a national trend that not just State Farm, but other private passenger auto companies are seeing, and that is fewer claims because of fewer accidents.
So, yes, and it's great, and I don't want to knock it at all. But the next time we have the insurance commissioner, Tim Temple on, that'd be Thursday, August 20th. We'll be live from their annual conference. The question I'm curious about is how long do we have to see actions like this before it results in just saying, okay, we're going to lower your rates again on the front end? That way, you don't have to worry about the dividend on the back end. I would rather just save the money rather than I cut you a check and you cut me a check when everybody plays nice. How about I just lower that first check that I cut you? Is that the next logical progression? Is that the next logical step? We don't know. All right. Tomorrow and Wednesday, I'll be broadcasting live from Monroe, Louisiana. The Louisiana Municipal Association is holding their annual conference. We're going at it heavy for 2 straight days, talking about issues that affect cities throughout the state of Louisiana, issues that affect different cities and parishes throughout the state of Louisiana. There will be application to what we do right here in East Baton Rouge, what we do in Baton Rouge, what we do in St. George and Zachary and Baker, and what we do within the city limits here as well. That's going to be a deep dive coming your way from Monroe, Louisiana tomorrow.